Over the years, we've talked many times, Lewis, about the stimulative effect of food stamps, of infrastructure spending, and the lack of stimulus that's provided by things like tax cuts for the rich and corporate tax cuts. And there's a really great graphic out that actually basically ranks the stimulative effect, the multiplier effect of different types of government spending. And it shows, as predicted, as we have known for a really long time, that food stamps are 5 times more stimulative than a corporate tax cut. So when we look at the multiplier effect, what we're talking about is for every dollar spent by the government on a particular program or in a particular way, how many times does that dollar recycle through the economy in order to create more or possibly less than a dollar of stimulus? If you look at food stamps, let's think about a food stamp. Who gets food stamps? People who qualify for help based on their income, which means they really need that money, which means essentially all of the food stamp money is going to be spent. Further, food stamp money goes to a grocery store or some other food retailer. And then, of course, that retailer needs to buy from their suppliers food to keep up with the increased demand from food stamps. And the supplier needs presumably to buy more raw ingredients from farms. And you can see how there's a direct stimulus effect. Counter that, for example, with tax cuts for the rich. Tax cuts for the rich are not money that those people need. That's why they're the rich. So that it's not money that's going to be spent. In fact, typically the money is saved. And recently, the rich have been saving in record proportion. Doesn't have a stimulative effect. So when we look at this, food stamps are 5 times more stimulative than a corporate tax cut. They are around equally stimulative, around 5 times more stimulative than tax cuts for the rich, almost as good as food stamp spending in terms of the effect on the economy is the extension of unemployment insurance benefits. Exact same logic. If you're out of a job and you qualify for unemployment, you probably need that money, meaning you'll spend most of it rather than saving it. This is all obvious. Economists and lay people all over the world understand this in majority. And for some reason here in the US, Lewis, we still have a huge portion of people and economists who claim that the reality is otherwise, who just don't seem to get it.
Right. I love how a lot of people think that this is just money that disappears. I mean, how often do we hear from the small businesses that receive food stamps that they don't want to take them anymore?
Very rarely. You hear that incredibly rarely. And again, remember, if people need to spend the money that the government is providing, that gives you stimulus. If people don't spend that money, you don't get economic stimulus. So just a basic logic test lets us very easily figure out what type of government spending benefits the economy.